Attleboro City Councilors are proposing a new ordinance that they hope will reduce the theft of valuable metals in Attleboro. The theft and sale of metals like copper and aluminum has increased over the last several years. The new law will require scrap metal recyclers and junk dealers to acquire more documentation about metal sellers and to file reports frequently with the Attleboro Police Department. Attleboro Ward 1 City Councilor Walter Thibodeau spoke with us about the issue.
Once they purchase junk, scrap materials, whatever the material happens to be, is they have to hold it in their possession for 7 days. That's the way that State Line Scrap used to operate their business. They used to stockpile materials, and then they would get a certain amount of tonnage in that one particular material or another. Then they would ship it out by rail. That if people's homes were broken into, and I'll give an example that we're more aware of today than we were aware of 10 years ago, where vacant homes or even occupied homes being broken into, and people are stealing copper pipe and then taking it to the local junkyard and selling it for scrap. If something like that happens in a 7-day holding period, it's very easy for the police to go to the local scrapyard and or for the local scrapyard to call the police and say, we have someone here that wants to sell what sure looks like cold and water and hot water pipes from a home, and we think that maybe they're not on the up and up. It's not a usual customer that we see or something like that. And so by having it in the ordinance of having the holding day, the holding time period rather in the ordinance, then if the police don't find out, let's say that a theft has been done on a Friday night, and let's say it's not a residence, it's a business, and they're not open on the weekends, they don't come into the business until Monday morning. Well, whoever committed the theft has had all day Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and whatever time people came into the business on Monday morning or back to the house on a Monday morning would be the first time the police would get a report about it, and the first time that they would be checking on material. The way that Schnitzer runs their business is that because their process of selling is closer to the way that the stock market runs. Metals, precious metals and non-precious metals these days, the scale can go up and down on a day-to-day basis. So what they do is whatever they might buy on a Monday, they try to ship out on a Tuesday so that they can, if the price is higher, they can take advantage of shipping to their customer using that price per pound. You can see the reasoning behind their methodology of why they would want to do it. However, the police chief was making the opposite argument about, well, yeah, but unless we have that kind of communication where I get to know what you're purchasing either in real time or within a certain amount of hours after you've purchased it and shipped it out, then how can I find out, if we have that lack of communication, how can I find out who sold you the material and then go and investigate that particular person? Why the new ordinance was generated the way it has been is because we now have a direct line of communication that has been developed between the management at Schnitzer Northeast and Police Chief Hegney, so that he, at the very least, he gets notified at the end of Schnitzer's business day as to what materials they have purchased that day. In the ordinance, which we all agreed upon, is information that is to be gathered by Schnitzer and shared with the police. Their attorney, Mr. Casey, and myself collaborated on merging the old ordinance and some suggestions as to a new ordinance, and defining both of them to be used either for a scrap metal dealer or for a junk dealer. which still keeps the option open for a 24-hour holding period. However, if that communication, which is already established and already going on right now as we speak, as long as that communication continues, then there's no need for a holding period necessarily, but that would be the police chief's decision, whoever the police chief is at the time. And there is an option in there for the police chief to write a waiver based on the yearly license renewal